Thank you all for making it to our Connect with Your True Self free energy session here in the middle of September, very close to the partial lunar eclipse and full moon. Yeah, so September is a tricky month, a bumpy month, in that it comes with a lot of different aspects. And I think, just judging by what you guys have shared here in our daily sacred self ongoing Skype thread, you guys have already gotten a little gist of that. There is a lot of back and forth, and I want to put our energy session here that we just had, connecting with our true self, into context with these current energetic weather conditions for us spiritually interested. Just real quick, how are you guys feeling? How did this last hour go for you, where we all joined here from all over the world to enter into this connecting space? Yeah, so on our end here, so with the help of Julian and Cindy, one of our most seasoned energy healers that work with us here at transCODES, we actually had a pretty rough time with this session. Physically, lots and lots of release symptoms. I sent the list of these release symptoms that we can feel when we enter into a deeper space with the instructions. Pain in the neck, heavy shoulders, pressure in the sternum, pressure in the forehead, and pressure in the throat. Anybody? Hi, Juliana. I was just reporting how, and Cindy, how we experienced this during the session. Heavy clearing symptoms. This is important for us to just recognize sort of where a session is going. When we come up with lots of physical symptoms, it tells us that there is a lot of resistance. Yeah, and resistance is mostly unconscious to us. Yeah, that is addressed during an energy session, is always something where our consciousness, okay, is not really up to speed as to what our unconscious does. In other words, resistance mostly comes from us not being fully aware of what it is that is holding us back. So let me just walk you through this. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, energy coach, and trainer. You know this. And this is the Connect with Your True Self session in September 24. And luckily, we have this energy forecast that we can go back to that I produce every month. And there I said this September will feel like a constant back and forth. Yeah, so we're doing this session here together and the live talk right after to reflect on our inner experiences. Energy sessions are there to guide us, to help us, to, well, also sometimes, like in this one, we felt this very strongly, to remind us who we truly are. Connect with Your True Self is a brand that I have been doing for 12 years now, every month. It's a free energy session here at transCODES, and it's basically part of our spiritual routine to connect at least once a month with our deeper, our spiritual, our true self. All right, and as we do this, things come up. Now, there's a reason why we do this in our own silence. We don't want overlap. We don't want you guys to influence each other's experience. That's one aspect of it. As facilitators of this energy session, we watch this in the etheric realm. Okay, and the other one is also for you to just simply go into the space free of distractions. And that's when we can hear our inner guidance better. That's when we can also sometimes hear our negative, self-talk, conscious, our constant unconscious thinking better. That can help us to sort things. Who of you feels a bit overwhelmed this month so far? It's only been 2 weeks. Who of you has had a little portion of this back and forth? Yeah, that's that's quite a few of you. Yeah, so the overwhelm comes from this back and forth. And during the session, we had some interesting questions come up from you guys, from your true selves, really, that we're talking to during this session. And I would like to discuss that a little bit. But I also want you to understand the context a little better. So please ask questions at any time. Make sure that when you type your question into the chat, that you actually put a question mark there. I'm only going to respond to question marks, okay? This is a quick review here on what this month is bringing in. It brings in the sword of truth. So if you haven't, if this is the first time you're hearing anything about this, go to my website here. This is what my website looks like. If you don't know how to get to the forecast is usually the first blog here, this one. So you click on it and it's going to guide you to, the transcript along with the video and the free energy alignment that I give with every forecast. That's a 20-minute meditation that helps you to align to the reality. And you see this month's energy alignment is called courage. So that's part of the issue that we are experiencing when we feel overwhelmed. It feels like we can't handle reality. It's just too much, or it's too confusing, or too distracting. By the way, I get a lot of texts and questions about where can I find the upcoming events and sessions. Well, there's a tab up here called upcoming events, and if you click on that, it goes all the way to the bottom of the front page and shows you all the courses, all the sessions that are going on at the time. And same with the energy calendar, where you can see not only the sessions that we're having, but a color-coded calendar, and that calendar informs you about the energetic weather conditions. So if I go by my own calendar, today is actually a really good day. We have very few blue days every month, if at all, and blue days are always the days where we can experience the strongest or the most inner peace. Okay, so inner peace as in, becoming able to let go of all the things that contribute to our overwhelm, that contribute to our stress or distraction that we're feeling. And here, just real quick, you see the inner themes for September have a lot to do with better prioritizing, which is always a sign that, that we can easily get overwhelmed if we're not centered. Yeah, that we get pulled over there and get pulled over there and get pulled over there and lose our priorities in the process. That can be part of the resistance that we're feeling because we never feel like we're getting anywhere. So you see here, you can read this for yourself, by going to the forecast video that I showed you there, and stop the video and study this a little bit more. But what I want to point your attention to is really sort of what we are in need of focusing on. Okay, and there is, with the overwhelm, the problem is our ability to focus. So let's have a discussion about that a little bit. Yeah, in this session, we noticed a lot of resistance toward actually standing in reality, in the reality that we are experiencing, and not just as individuals, but also as a collective. And there's a lot of things we don't like about this. There's a lot of things we don't like about our own situation, and there's a lot of things we don't like about what is coming in from the outside. What do you think is more important? What you do with your life, the choices that you make for yourself, or which president is going to be elected, or what kind of laws are going to be signed in effect. And you know me, I'm not going to ignore obviously what's going on there in the world, but when it comes to the day to day and how you deal with your reality, how you are able to cope with what you need to deal with, yeah, when you wake up in the morning, what do you think is more important? What some dude or dudess said on social media, or what your neighbor says, or like whether your mom or dad agree with what you're doing, or how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your day, how you feel about the situation that you're in, how you see yourself, how you see the life that you're in. What do you think is more important? Why do you think it's so easy to distract us from, what is most important for us? How does this go with you? What distracts you? What distracts you to the point that you can't focus on, all the things that you want to manifest in your life, all the things that you intend to bring into your life? Say appreciation, gratitude, forgiveness, healing, courage. Your phone? Okay, that's easy, Sean. That's easy. Just need to put it away.
Yes.
Okay, so putting the phone away is obviously something that I'm assuming will be better for you, right? You know that. But then there is this notion, or this energy, let's call it energy in you, that just simply, what? You forget about it, that it's not good for you, or you just get so immersed into it, or you just can't let go. Maybe because you think that you're missing out on something, or what is it? What is it?
It's exactly all that. And it's also like when other people are on their phones and I feel ignored. I'm like, well then I'll go on my phone. So it's really childish and I'm aware of it. And then I'm like, well that was silly anyway.
Well, and there you go, right? You start judging yourself, right? So this is the crux with our intentions, yeah, our good intentions, and our ability to follow through. When you're spiritually aware, you begin to realize that, it's not because you're not a good person or you're not good enough. It's because there's an actual energy that is pulling you away from it. Have you ever tried to perhaps personify your phone and see it sort of as the mouthpiece or the loudspeaker of dark energies? Yeah, that the moment you pay attention to it, you are energizing it. So that's the thing, guys, with accepting reality. We can't really live in reality if we are not willing to accept all aspects of reality. Okay, and we all have these sort of dreamy and wishful ideas of how we want reality to be, and then it doesn't match up with what we're experiencing, and we have no clue why. We have all these good intentions, and we experience ourselves not being able to follow through, or we want to finally say things or do things or bring things into manifestation, and we have no clue why it doesn't work out. And then at the end of the day, we beat ourselves up because we are not doing what we promised ourselves we were doing, or we go into victimhood and say, oh, why me, and everybody else has a good life and they all get to do what they want to do except for me. Are you aware that these kind of thoughts, these kind of notions are dark energies? These are energies that we call dark, okay? They are below truth here compared to Hawkins's map of consciousness, which means that they are based on either delusion or illusion. Okay, and delusion are both darknesses. Okay, that's there is no light there. Yeah, that's what darkness means. Forget about demons for a moment. They don't even look at it this way. Just look at something based on whether it brings more clarity, more truth, more freedom, more love into your life, or whether it actually distracts you from it, makes it harder for you. Yes, lower vibrations is fine to say lower vibrations, but Faye, we need to be a little more direct about this now. We need to realize how dark energies work through us. Okay, and it's very, very important, especially at this time, especially here, September, yeah, the month of Archangel Michael, okay, where, the sword of truth is being handed to us, that we put the spotlight, the flashlight onto darkness and call it out. Call it out. Yes, Gerald, I understand that you find it difficult to detach from what is happening in your country right now. And I'm actually glad that you are actually realizing what is going on in your country right now, because there's a lot of people who pretend it's not. Yes, it's the same with social media. It's the same with transhumanism and so many other really scary things that are going on right now, where everybody is pretending it's not happening. So is it better to accept that it's happening and then to go into fear with it and see oneself as a victim and powerless? Or is it better to ignore that it's happening and pretend everything is going to be fine? If we just sort of spread love and light into the world, it's all going to be good. Which one do you think is lighter? Going into fear or pretending it's not there?
I would say that none, because both of them are kind of keeping us in the loop.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly true. Both are dark. Both are dark. So for us to actually arrive at truth, and especially to connect with truth within ourselves, which is basically the ability to wield that sort of truth, the ability to discern truth. I've been talking about this for years, probably tired of me saying this. But you have to understand that ability to discern truth is the only skill that we need to focus on. Why? Because that is what is under attack. Okay? So any type of coping, sugarcoating, sort of wishing things away, or going into powerlessness or anger, hatred, doubt, and fear is feeding that, is feeding the darkness. And darkness always means untruth. We are now in a time here where we are under full submersion or exposure of darkness, which means we are living through the confrontation with untruths, including the untruths about ourselves, which means that the only real task we have is to cut through that, is to find ways and execute these ways to not get pulled into either way. How can we do this? How can we do this? Okay, Cindy, you co-facilitated the session here with me along with Julianne, and you picked up on a burning question. Let's discuss that a little bit. This is a question that comes up basically in lieu of your own true selves. Can you reiterate that question that you had earlier? Okay. So the question that came up was pretty much along those lines. Well, does it mean that everything that we try to cope with reality, yeah, like the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, the compromises we make, that they are all dark? Does that mean that our coping is dark? And my answer to that was no, not psychologically, because psychologically, coping is quite an important strategy. It helps us to get through something. It's related to self-soothing. Yeah. So if you need to take a time out, if you need to do something just to calm yourself down, if you need to do something to disconnect from the rara or whatever temporarily, okay, then that's a good thing. If it leads to you feeling more grounded, more centered, more connected again. But if your coping is unconscious, say in the example of addictions, yeah, substance addictions or behavior addictions, where you get pulled into something that you actually don't want to do, that you actually know is not good for you. Yeah, you know that it's not good for you to get hooked onto social media, to get hooked on the constant random stream of information coming in through your phone, and yet you can't stop it, okay? Then you need to understand that there is a darkness working through you at that moment, and that darkness is not there to demonically possess you. It is there to distract you from something. What? What is it distracting you from? Do you know? Can you guys pinpoint that?
Feelings.
Yeah.
It's always feelings with me. And in actual fact, if I might say, it actually exasperates the feelings anyway.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
why coping doesn't
stupid.
work. Yeah, coping doesn't work
It's
on the long.
like,
No, because it's a form of repression. You just sort of shove it under the rug and it gets bigger and moldier and uglier over time. Okay. Yeah. So that's the psychological part of this. So coping in and of itself is a very healthy strategy of our ego, but it is not a long-term strategy. Okay. It's really just there for the moment. Okay. And if we continue to apply our coping mechanisms for everyday life situations, then really what we're feeding in us is untruths, because coping is just it's just really there to cover up the symptom for a little bit so that we can find back to ourselves. So if you unconsciously stay in a continual state of coping, what is it distracting you from? Feeling is one aspect of it. But that's not even the worst part. I mean, feeling is needed for a lot of things. But ultimately, yes, as a result of not focusing on yourself, Faye, you got it. Yes, it's distracting you from yourself. It's pulling you out of yourself and out of your inner truth. And that's then why it is impossible for you to manifest a different reality. So, in that, your continual unconscious coping is a form of darkness because it keeps you in that place where you cannot see, where you cannot discern truth. Now, this is really, really important to understand. Okay, so our understanding of darkness is that there are some kind of ghouls or some kind of demons are coming to eat us or something. The mentors, in Harry Potter, um, and over a long enough time, actually, it does kind of look that way in the etheric. Just so you know, yeah, because there is something that happens in you when you are not willing to do with that, when you're not willing to step into that authentic truth with yourself. And that is that it robs you your spiritual power. It takes away your, if you will, your energetic immune system, your etheric immune system. You become susceptible. You become, well, I used to call it shit magnet. Okay, sorry for my English, because that's literally what it looks like. in the spiritual world, you become a magnet. You become easy fodder. Yeah, you become prey. And this is the sad thing about this, because, as you are, trying to cope these things away and deny or reject or, sort of ignore them, all your worst fears, like the victimhood and these horror scenarios and all the negativity that you carry in you gets magnified, gets amplified, gets energized. Yeah, just like how Sean just said it. All right, so that's the problem. And look, once you understand what you're up against, yeah, that there's an actual sort of tug of war going on, yeah, of these forces, yeah, trying to pull you out of yourself. So there's many workshops and lectures that I've done on the nature of darkness, and I would strongly recommend you guys to actually study this, because you need to understand that with you as this spirit being in your physical form, you have a polarity in you. You have this physical body, and then you have an etheric body, and then you have an astral body, and you have a consciousness, an I. Okay, so you don't just consist of this one physical material thing that you are, but you consist of many different layers, overlapping fields. It's very complex. Yeah, and for most of us, we especially when we are spiritually inclined, we just experience this as a tug of war. We experience this polarity as something that we cannot control, because all we can experience in our awake state is our physical. And when we sleep or when we go into the dream state, we experience our soul self, but we never really experience the bridge or the merging of it. So all we experience is either or. And that's part of the spiritual education that we have to kind of follow up with. We have to understand here what is actually happening. The nature of darkness is such that it pulls us either out of ourselves into a sort of alternate reality, or it pulls us deeper into ourselves to the point that we get lost in our own selfishness and our own materialism and our own sort of physical reality. So this is a polarity that we all have in us, okay? And without knowing how to balance that, how to walk this bridge, how to experience your own spiritual power, where you can claim all that back and say, you know what? Stop with this now. Okay, I'm in charge. There is this higher hierarchy in you that can say, guess what? I am that I am. And I am in charge of that. And I am not allowing my thoughts, my emotions, or my physical body to pull me away from that power. Okay, so that is what we are connecting with, that we are trying to energize when we do these connect with our true self energy sessions. Yeah, and by the way, you can do this on your own at any time, guys. It's the most important spiritual modality. The most important thing that you can do is to connect with the core, with the essence of yourself deep in your heart. Now, when I say heart, I don't mean emotions. I mean deep in the feeling part of who you are. You can't be afraid of what you find there. You can't be afraid of your critical inner voice, or, like, oh my God, I messed that one up again, and da da da. You have to start wanting to master that. That's why I've been doing these Connect with Your True Self sessions for 12 years now, every month. That's 12 times 12, 144 sessions just for that. Okay? And I'm calling it the most important modality. It's a free one, just so that everybody has a reason, okay, to connect back again. And when we do this, and in that, our reality, our session today was a really big success. We clear out all these things that are in the way, that are making it so difficult for us to connect with our inner truth. Yeah, all the stuff, the negative inner self-talk, all the things that you hear in your head, well, you should have done this, and why didn't you do this, and why did it take you so long, and da da da. That's all darkness speaking in you there. You got to understand that that is what is preventing you from manifesting what it is that you want to manifest. So ask yourself, do I really want to feed that? But what do I need to feed, or what do I need to energize instead? That's where most of us sort of get lost a little bit. Is your critical inner voice right? Are there things that you could do better? Are there things that, you should have done better? Of course. So I'm not saying to ignore your mind, because your mind is a wonderful tool. But if your mind thinks you, if your emotions emote you, then you are not in charge. You see? Connecting with your true self allows you to ground all of that, to center yourself, yeah, and to literally stand in the middle between, this polarity and that polarity. And yes, you will experience yourself getting pulled into, I don't want to deal with any of this today, or, oh my God, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, where you get pulled too deep into yourself. So you get pulled out of yourself or too deep into yourself. Both of these are or can be seen as dark forces working through you. And by the way, we just had a wonderful workshop. Go on my YouTube channel and watch the manipulations of the mind workshop. There is very concise and shows you the mechanism of why it is so hard for you to follow through on your good intentions, and how this works with your manifestation process, what needs to align in order for that to actually work. So in this session, okay, that we just had, where we had these two self energies going through you, one of the biggest issue that I saw was that most of your energy fields are way in front of you. This is a sign for me that you're not centered. Yeah, you're standing in front of yourself, and that always indicates that there is an alignment to the future. Yeah, like what you need to do. What's coming up. Oh my God, the world's going to go under, climate change, political unrest, civil war, 15-minute cities, transhumanism. Oh my God, right? So that in and of itself is the result of being under the effect of darkness, guys. Okay? Yeah, because that's a projection. Those are all projections, and I wrote articles last month where I listed exactly the textbook of propaganda, how these mental projections arrive in your head and make you focus on these things that are all outside of you. Okay? So, yeah, you fell for the deception. Okay, that's fine. We all do from time to time. So you got to pull that back. Your energy field is too far out of you. That means you got pulled out. What did that? Well, read the articles. I don't want to reiterate all this here, but it's, basically all the stuff that is coming in from the outside, and that's strategic. Okay, this is done on purpose. Okay, it's very easy to detect for people who are connected with their true self. The other thing that a lot of you guys have issues with control. So this is understandable. Like trying to control a reality is obviously something that, well, to a degree, I'm asking you to master your reality, which is a little different from controlling. Because see, there's a lot of things we can't control, right? We can't control what other people think, what they say, what they do, how they feel about us, how, and then, climate change and stuff like that. Those aren't necessarily all things that we can control. Okay, can we contribute? Yes, and I will talk about this here in a moment, because that's actually the most important question. How can we change? What can we contribute to change things in this world. But when it comes to control within our own sort of reality, that's a little different. Yeah. So we have to accept the things that we can't control and then focus on the things that we can control. All right. So whatever people do on social media or what politicians do or whatever, I can't control that. Or what my husband thinks or what my mom and dad feel about me, those are all things I can't control. But I can control how I feel about the world, how I feel about humans, how I feel about nature, how I feel about my purpose here, why I'm here, what I want to bring into this world, yeah, how I want to contribute. Those are things that I can control. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can control my thoughts. Yeah, if I drive through town and get pulled into road rage each time somebody honks at me or whatever, do you know what I mean? That's something that we need to focus on controlling. Those are the things that we need to focus on. They connect us with our true self. But all the things that we do just to conform or comply or manipulate or tweak reality, that pulls you out of you. So there's different types of control. And we need to understand which one is actually the one that we need to focus on. And that is, well, basically self-control. Yeah. So we are trying to, or we getting pulled into a reality where we are being told that we have no control over what is happening, and that makes us powerless. But in the process of that mind control, you also giving up the powers of controlling what you could control. All right. I don't know if you could follow me here, but really what I'm saying is sit down, have a good talk with yourself, and evaluate what these things are that you should control and what these things are that you need to let go of because you can't control them anymore. And then there is another layer of that, and that is, sort of the bigger plan, God's mysterious ways. Okay. There's cosmic things, cosmic forces at work here at all times. Yeah, these forces are the ones that have brought us into existence. So there's always a level of reality that we won't be able to control just due to the fact that we are not far enough developed yet spiritually. Okay. Not to say that it's part of our divine evolutionary plan to arrive there at some point. Yeah, I'm talking about humanity itself. Yeah, and us here being in these training programs via reincarnation, trying to refine, ennoble, and purify these skills, this ability that we have to co-create reality. Yeah, we have those. They're just not refined enough. Yeah, right now we're on the level of learning how to control our own thinking and our own feeling. Yeah, and our own bodies. That's where we're at. Okay, so anything that comes in through, like say karma or, a bigger spiritual reality is not in our hands. But it is something that we can learn to recognize and surrender to. This is then where grace comes in. This is then where, our trust in our own spirit self comes in. Because see, the moment you see yourself as a soul with a body, the moment you accept that you are a spirit being in a physical hull, in a physical sort of vehicle, okay, that is the moment where you also have to recognize that this spirit being in you had to come from somewhere and is going somewhere after this physical hull, yeah, is used up. And when you get to that point, that you realize that the spiritual reality is a much bigger reality than this physical reality of this lifetime, okay, you may also understand that karma isn't actually anything from the outside. That's not like the gods of judgment, hanging over you and say, oh, because you were so mean in your last life, you're going to have to experience all bad things in this life. No. This is actually something that was put in place by your own higher self, recognizing that this is something that you still need to work out. This is something that you still need to train. See, and this kind of information, this kind of sort of spiritual reassurance that you are actually on a much bigger journey, yeah, that leads you to, a more ennobled, a higher self, okay, that is then what forms trust. That is the one that we want to energize. And knowing that you are on the right path, knowing, yeah, that whatever comes along your way here has a purpose, even if your ego doesn't like it. Okay? So these are things that you need to take with when it comes to the specifics of the energies here in September, especially this next week. Yeah, this next week can get pretty bumpy if you are trying to hold on to a control, yeah, the control on a physical level that is basically irrelevant for the bigger picture, because the bigger picture is now coming front and center. That's why part of the focus that we need in this month is actually to see the larger perspective. We have to grow out of our sort of little understanding of what life is and also what energy is. Yeah. So change is part of our evolutionary process, and it requires us to constantly adapt. And you guys, as energetically sensitives, okay, you get this perhaps in a little different way than other people, because other people just experience that as a brick wall. For you, it's often more fluid. You may have already experienced sleepless nights. You had difficulties with your throat, difficulties with, sort of a subtle anxiousness, your nervous system, yeah, or maybe exhaustion, a total exhaustion and tiredness where you fall asleep on the spot. Those are things that you can tune into as messages of what is actually going on. So right now, okay, this sort of ego response to the challenges, to these bigger forces that are moving in, is trying to hold on white knuckled, asks you to let go, asks you to surrender. Okay, so our renal and urinary system is linked to clearing, to allowing things to flush out. That's why my recommendation for you here continued, actually not just in September, this will go on until the rest of the year, to drink lots and lots of water and to stretch a lot. Yeah, not just your physical, that is given. Yeah, so when you need to balance things, when you need to navigate things, okay, the best skill, or the most important sort of skill needed to balance things is flexibility. Yeah, so physical flexibility, okay, time to get out your yoga mats, yeah, to do some Tai Chi, stretching, physical therapy, okay, but also in an energetic sense, to stretch your energy system, to understand that there's a bigger energetic reality, and that the only thing that can actually help you to cope for real, yeah, to navigate this for real, is to be in truth. And in order to be in truth, you have to be willing to let go of your, what we call, error perceptions, your illusions and delusions. And for some of you, this will be a hard or harsh awakening. Yeah, especially here during this lunar eclipse full moon. Guys, this is a full-on physical, emotional, mental, etheric, astral clearing these next days. Okay? So what can we do? What can we do when we deal with these kind of things? Well, here, shifting perspective, that's what you do as a spiritually engaged, spiritually conscious person, you remind yourself that there's a bigger reality. You wake up in the morning, you ground yourself by putting your bare feet on the ground, rubbing your face, clearing your thoughts, and taking a few deep breaths. This is like a 10-second thing, okay? And remind yourself that you are a spirit being in a physical reality, okay? Trusting in higher power gets stronger and stronger the more you can trust in yourself, in your true self, because that is the spirit being in and of itself. So you realize that the spirit being in you is connected to all other spirit beings, to spirit innately. And you can feel this more when you focus on that. You can't feel this if you look at your phone all day. Okay? And, for some of us that have been on this journey for so long, and you may feel a little disheartened, and, like after all this self-growth work and spiritual work that you've done, persistence. Trust me, guys, you have done a phenomenal job. And, all these people that I have been able to assist here over the last 20 years are having an amazing change in their reality, one that they couldn't even imagine. And that is because they have practiced this. So you can do this too. You just got to practice this. Yeah. What is this? Just to bring this back in as a repeat here, your spiritual reality, the fact that you are a spirit being, okay, that is having a physical experience of your higher self. The higher self is the goal, guys. So without actually connecting with your true self, it's really, really difficult to trust in that. Yeah. And that's then what allows you to overcome hopelessness and all the toxicity that you're experiencing in your life. Here, a diagram that shows you how your chakras are being affected this month. Yes, here, particularly your third chakra. Yeah, because what you think you need, control, yeah, which is also where the coping and the addiction and all that comes in, is actually the wrong polarity. What you need instead is conscious will. And that comes with present moment awareness and conscious intentiveness, yeah, with conscious choices. So that needs to be balanced out, guys. This is how we learn how to stay in the middle, how to balance this out. Yeah, so here, just real quick for you, how this is already pre-arranged. Yeah, so I did this like 4 weeks ago, and you can see how it's all playing out now. Yeah, so this time here now, these next 3-4 days, bring in an intense challenge. All right, and that challenge is for you to let go of your coping, let go of all the things that you think help you through something, but in reality actually open the gates for darkness to pull you further away from your true self. Okay, so there's some beautiful energies that are coming in as well. And this month it's really about forming deeper relationships, yeah, with our own true self and others. So one of the things that stuck out for me here in this energy session was also the honoring of our true self. How do we honor our true self? Well, by following through. Yeah, by following through with our inner truth. Yeah, by saying hi to your true self and say, yep, got it. I don't know the solution. I don't know exactly how to do it, but I hear you. Yeah, that's why there's beautiful energy alignments on SoundCloud. Yeah, that all kind of enter this conversation with your true self. We say, I hear you. Where you energize the feedback loop with your true self. Yeah, that's one way to do that. Okay, and the other one is that you stop believing in all these things that are getting sort of projected into your mind, into your emotions into your body, these toxins, these toxic thought forms. Yeah, let go of them. Recognize them as darkness and say, nope, 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 my store is closed. I am not volunteering to be fodder for dark energies. Yes, and they just go to the next. Okay, so any conscious choice like that will help you build your etheric immune system, will help you, to drive out deception, to drive out delusion, to drive out negativity and darkness. So this is it from my point of view here. Julianne, would you like to add anything? Maybe I missed something, anything that you would like to let people know that we saw in their energy fields? Yeah, sometimes it also means to work with your shadow. Yeah. Um, one participant named Mario or Muriel, if you're watching this right now, um, contact me, okay? So there's something going on there that I would like, if you need help or want help, that I can help you with. So if there are no questions, then I just want to send you home now with a big, big thank you. Yeah, big, big thank you to your true self. Yeah, because another way to honor our true self is also to honor other true selves. Yeah, that's also in the invocation. And to honor other people's journeys. I honor your journey. I thank you for trusting sort of my guidance here. And next Sunday at 9 a.m. we have a special here for, nope, it's not next Sunday, it's in 2 weeks Sunday, September 28th, the Mikael Mass that I am offering. Again, a worldwide meditation energy session with energy talk right after, elaborating on the importance of these Archangel Michael energies, yeah, the sword of truth that is given to us, and really tuning into connecting with this energy that brings the courage to face and slay our own inner dragons. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. September 28th. There's a sign-up link that you'll see here probably tonight. I'll send it out with the recording of this Connect with Your True Self session. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Julianne and Cindy, for volunteering to facilitate this session. Love you guys. Stay conscious.